What's going on, it's the Rap Nerd, and I finally was able to watch Netflix's newest crime thriller called The Rip, starring Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. The story follows a group of Miami cops who get a hit that there is a house with millions of dollars in the walls, and when they get there, trouble follows, and it leads to the cops questioning if this is a double cross or not and who's behind it. Now, off rip, pun fully intended, this movie was excellent. It managed to build so much good tension from the start to the finish of the film, and it offered some really good action that I will find myself revisiting. This is one of the best Netflix movies that they've released, and it kind of makes me upset a little bit because this would have been a real great ride to watch in cinemas, and it would also be a nice piece of physical media to own, but I can't complain about it because they just run things the way they run it. But man, it was good. It took me back to the 2000s and kind of reminded me a little bit of SWAT, but just a more hardcore version, because this one is rated R while SWAT is PG-13, and it does not hold back on the mature content here. And like SWAT, I think that this is a really great cast. They do a really good job of establishing characters. While Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are for sure the leads of this movie, they make each character within the cop circuit have a certain type of archetype, so you are able to understand each character because of the personality they give each one, and it just adds to the mystery of who the hell is behind the double cross that's clearly in play. And I'm probably a little off here, but I'm gonna say it just because this is how I feel, but it almost gave me some vibes like Heat if Robert De Niro's character was also a cop. Then it would be like Al Pacino and Rob De Niro playing off of each other, trying to figure out like who's the dirty cop and who's not, because of the intensity that both Ben and Matt brought to the table, not only against everybody but against themselves. Because as the rabbit hole gets deeper, everybody becomes more questionable. And what makes it so great is there isn't really a lot of downtime. As soon as the movie opens, you're already in the shit and trying to figure out what exactly is going on. So for the whole 2-hour ride, it is just tension built on tension, and it does such cool things to keep you on the edge of your seat. And the performances are all excellent. Like the sequence when they first arrive to the house and discover the money in the walls, Matt puts on such a great performance at that very moment that really had me scared. I was like, oh shit, this is about to get real, from the way that he portrayed what's going on. Of course, there are some things that he says that add to that I don't want to spoil, but just him being in a position of, I think he's a sergeant or lieutenant, I forgot which one. He plays it in a way that makes me nervous, being an audience member, and also makes the characters in the actual scene nervous as hell as well. And you can feel that tension, it's palpable. And as I mentioned earlier, there are some really good action sequences. Of course, this film has heavy gunfire, and the way that it's depicted is insane. Like, there's a shootout in the middle of the movie that is very, very intense. It was also some great stunt work to really up the action factor on that part. And I think it all has to do with the camera movement. If I'm not mistaken, most of the movie is handheld and very personal, so you feel like you're there with the characters on the ground, which extends into the action sequences of gunfire that make it feel like you're there with the cops as all of this shit goes on. And with it being a crime thriller full of twists, it really kept me guessing the entire time as to what's going on, who's a part of this, all the way up until the end. There's a twist. And speaking of the end, I love how it ends because you're left with this weight of what it means to be in this line of work, and that's all I'll say for that moment, because I thought it was a brilliant way to wrap up the entire film. So I enjoyed it, and this is high on my list for 2026. Man, January has had some bangers this year, and if that's any sign of what the rest of the year is going to be like, we are in for a special year in cinema. So let me know in the comments, what did you think of The Rip? What was your favorite sequence? Mine was that shootout in the middle of the movie that I mentioned. That thing was epic, and I really didn't expect it to go that hard at that point. But overall, love the movie, and we'll be revisiting it again, knowing what I know and how it ends. So if you like this kind of content, make sure to like, subscribe, and if you already are subscribed, thank you, and until next time, peace.
RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy. Instead of banking on it, now rapping is just a hobby.